God bless you. I'm Dr. Charles Kenton. You've tuned into another edition of A Word Fitly Spoken. The last couple of days, we've been in this book of Daniel, and we've been watching the life of this young man as he is in exile. He's not from here, he's from another place, but he's found himself in a strange land, and the culture and the corruption of that land is now weighing on him. But he has purposed in his heart that he's not going to defile himself. He's not going to get caught up in the traps of the enemy and the ways and the cultures of another land, because it has side effects. And so he decides, no, I'm going to purpose in my heart that I'm not going to defile myself. I'm not going to partake of the king's meat. And his friends, he's got some friends that decide they're not even going to succumb to the schemes and the strategies of the enemy. You may feel that you're in a strange land right now. You may feel that you're a long way from home. You may feel that your comfort level as it relates to spiritual things are not where they need to be. You need to recognize that just because you are in a war does not mean you haven't gotten some training that has governed your life thus far, that has brought you through. And so I want to ask you to look at your weapon. I want to investigate. I was in the military, and I was in Vietnam, and I was there, and I had an officer that was new to war. He hadn't been in country long, and so he got mad with us, and he decided to have us to have inspection in the field. He had us stand in a straight line, and he wanted to inspect our weapons. These are a well-trained, organized group of individuals. We know the importance of keeping our weapon clean, of keeping our gear right. We knew the importance of it. In the midst of the rain, my weapon was over my shoulders. In the midst of the monsoons, I protected that which was going to ultimately protect me. And my concern is, like Daniel and his friends, their weapon was the word of God. Their choice was to not succumb to the enemy, not succumb to the strategies of the enemy, even if they are a long way from home. They had morals and they had structure that said, even though I'm in Babylon, even though I'm in a strange land, I'm still going to maintain what I've been taught. And I'm asking the saints of God that may feel that they're in exile. You may not physically be in another country, but I understand that there's a lot of us that are. I got a recommendation. You better polish your weapon. This dude decided when I was in Vietnam that we are going to have an inspection in the field, and we're sitting ducks for a sniper. I need to ask you, how is your weapons of choice? Daniel and his three friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they were in a strange land, in a strange place. They couldn't go to church. They couldn't associate at the convention. They couldn't get around and Facebook this one and that one, and the folks in Judea, they couldn't move around. And so they were squeezed. They were in a different environment. And now they say, "Oh, King, live forever," but we're not bowing. We're not bowing to the image. We're not bowing to the statue. We're not bowing to the customs of this land. We come from another place. We're ambassadors. We may look like slaves and look like we're in exile, but we're ambassadors of the King. You know what? And my wife pointed this out to me. There are things that we are bowing to today. There are schemes and strategies of the enemy that we are bowing to today. And you know what it is? It's this electronic device. And for you to gaze, look at the folks on the train and on the bus, on the planes, at your workstation, they have to drop their head in order for them to gaze and worship this electronic device. And I saw this the other day. I saw this because my wife pointed it out to me. And she said, look at the posture that you have to take to gaze into this phone. I saw the Hebrew boys refusing to bow. I saw them standing up and saying, no, we're not bowing. It's bending over willingly. When you bow, you submit yourself to something that you deem to be more higher than you. You bow, you submit, you fall into line. And I'm asking the question today, what are we bowing to? What are we bending over willingly and submitting to? Is it an electronic device? What are we bowing to? Bending over willingly. We just willingly drop our head. We don't look. I came from a different dynamic. My daddy told me, I don't bow to anybody. I don't slump my shoulders. I square my shoulders and I look at people in their face. And I recognize God taught me through that man that I'm just as much a man as anybody. Don't call me a boy and don't treat me like one. And the saints of God have become children to the works of the enemy and the strategies of the enemy because they take care of you, they feed you, they care for you. The scheme was that we're going to assimilate you into the land of the Babylonians, into the ways of the Chaldeans. We're going to change your name. We're going to call you Belteshazzar. We're going to call you something else. Don't let them do that. Don't do it. Don't bend over willingly and allow the works of the enemy to succumb to, for you to succumb to. It's time for us to stand. And when we do, God will stand up within us and he'll stand for us. The children of Israel, they recognized that God was for them and he was more than the world against them. In the midst of this society today, don't succumb to your lack of Bible study, to your lack of prayer and praise and worship and thanksgiving. Don't do it. These are your weapons, and you need to keep them sharp, clean, and fresh, ready to go at any time. I got to go. I'm Dr. Charles Kent with another Word Fitly Spoken. God bless you.